My name is J.R. Briggs. I'm a 2001 Taylor alum, and one of the things I love about the Taylor towel is what it meant to me when I got that, walking across the stage, getting my diploma and getting the towel. And this towel has remained on my desk since the day I graduated. My freshman year, right after my parents dropped me off, the tearful goodbye and waving and seeing the family van leave the parking lot. All the freshmen were there, and the seniors had come back, and there were about 9 seniors that were living on my wing. We had been warned about that night, and we knew that something was coming, and we thought maybe it was hazing or some sort of prank or embarrassment. We were blindfolded that night, and we were led arm in arm for several minutes to a location we did not know. As freshmen, we were scared and not knowing what was about to happen. And when the blindfolds were taken off, we found ourselves on the prayer deck by Taylor Lake, where all the seniors were there with buckets. And they came over and they took our socks and shoes off. And these seniors washed our feet. And they hugged us and said, "Welcome to the wing." Now, life is best lived when it's lived in a story beyond what I can create. And I love that Jesus, when he washes his disciples' feet, he's inviting us into his story, which is greater than anything that we could create. One of the things we talk about at the church that I pastor is that the role of the church is to help us be missionaries cleverly disguised as good neighbors. And sometimes that means to be missionaries cleverly disguised as attorneys or plumbers or businessmen and women or stay-at-home moms. Because being missionaries cleverly disguised means that we're representing Christ. We're incarnating Christ as we go. Representing that model of servanthood, that radical love. It's more important for me to be a servant who leads than a leader who serves. Because servanthood is rooted in my identity, and leadership is what I do out of my identity. A leader helps to bear pain, to build trust, and to give hope. And what I love about the story in John 13 is that Jesus does all 3 of those. He bears the pain, he takes on the messes of his disciples, and through that he builds trust, and in the process he gives hope. When I look at John 13, I notice that Jesus, before he washes his disciples' feet, he's actually doing it around the table. It's a meal, there's relationship there. It's rooted in relationship. And I've always wondered what was running through Judas's and Peter's mind as their feet were being washed by Jesus, where Jesus fully knew what would happen in the near future with both of them. Radical love is a willingness to wash people's feet even though you know that they might betray or deny you in the near future. So after the meal, Jesus brings his disciples together and he actually takes off his outer garment. He becomes vulnerable with the people that he loves. He ties a towel around his waist and he begins to wash his disciples' feet. And then after washing his disciples' feet, he actually uses the towel tied around his waist to dry their feet. The residue of their feet is now being worn by Jesus. And then he asks them this question: do you understand what I've just done for you? And then lastly, Jesus then says, I've set the example for you. You've called me teacher and Lord, and that I am. But now you go and do that. If you go and do what you've just seen and what you've just learned, you will be blessed. Oftentimes we think that community is the goal. Community is not the goal. It is the byproduct that happens when we live like Jesus. True community, true connection with God and other people is when I'm willing to do that. When I'm willing to bare myself, to be vulnerable and naked before others, to wash them, and then to carry their residue on me as an act of love. That is what it means to bear the image of God and to bear the towel.